When my girl's got the sweetest pussy, nestles in her lap, be the first to admit and wanna stroke that kitten, fell right into her trap.
So today is a great day. Today is Wednesday. Yes, all of us were super busy yesterday, Lisa, and so we couldn't do our show on Tuesday, but we've been gone for 2 weeks anyway, so whatever. So today has been a good day because I'm not into sports. I don't like sports really at all. I watched football because I love the men in their uniforms, especially when they did slow-mos of them doing their sports things, super sexy. My dad really liked it, so I became a Steelers fan to begin with. But I'm really not that into sports. I mean, really. But today, especially NASCAR, because NASCAR, you're just driving around in circles. Seriously, that's all you're doing. I went to a live auto racing event once here in Vegas, because here in Vegas we have the Speedway, or the Speedrome, or whatever the hell they call it out there. But before that, they used to have these races where the cars would go around in this small circle, not the big giant one like NASCAR, but a small circle, but they were allowed to crash into each other. And I can't remember the name of that kind of race, but that was a lot of fun. I have to tell you, in person, that was a lot of fun. And then afterwards, I watched some videos about car tires flying off and going into the crowd and killing people, and I swore I would never go back to one of those again. Anyway, but NASCAR today announced and put out a statement that they were removing the display of the Confederate flag anywhere at any of their races. So I thought that was awesome. I'm assuming that if any cars have it painted onto their car, they're going to make them take it off. I'm assuming that at the gate, when they start to let people in to come watch the race, that they will also ensure that those people are not wearing or displaying or carrying a Confederate flag. So yay, so good day. Good day today. Of course, that's on the heels of a couple of days ago when the Marines announced that the Confederate flag would not be allowed to be displayed on any of their bases. And I think I saw something specific about coffee mugs and t-shirts and posters and all kinds of stuff. So on any of their bases, anywhere, the Marines are not going to allow the Confederate flag. So yay, yay, I'm so excited for that. On top of all of the statues, the Confederate statues coming down, slave traders statues over in Europe coming down, King Leopold, his statue coming down, since he's actually responsible for massacres in the Congo, coming down. Thank you, thank you. It's a good day. It's a good day. Oh my gosh. So yes, no bumper stickers either, CJ. So I'm very happy. I'm so excited about these small, they're small. They seem small changes. I mean, it's just a bunch of statues and bumper stickers and coffee cups, but really, it's not that small. It's huge. They're huge, and they will reverberate into the future. So I'm very, very happy for all of that. Whew. Okay. I voted yesterday in the primary. For those of you who don't know, in June here in Las Vegas, you get to vote in the primary to pick. I'm a registered Democrat. If you are a registered Democrat or a registered Republican, you get to vote in the primary for people who are vying for the same seat in your own party. I am only registered Democrat because I wanted to vote in the primary. Usually I am registered as nonpartisan. Don't say independent, because independent is a party all by itself. Don't say that you're an independent, say you're nonpartisan. Learn the language. Nonpartisan. Language is important, and we're gonna talk about why here in just a little bit. So, I voted yesterday. It was mail-in voting because Nevada Governor Sisolak, who I have developed a huge crush on, despite the fact, forget that. Governor Sisolak, who I have developed a crush on, made it so that our primary was nothing but mail-in voting. So I mailed in my vote. I signed it, sealed it, put it in the protective secrecy sleeve that it comes with the voting, and sent it in. I spent time and effort researching candidates. No, I did not. It's a mix between culinary union choices and LGBTQ plus choices. That's right. I went and found some people that I like and looked at who that they were recommending for you to vote for, because I am not going to spend the majority of my time researching these so many judges, people that want to be judges, right? There are people that are willing to do that to help forward their own agenda. So the LGBTQ, IA, I believe those are all the letters, plus put out their recommendations for people to vote for, and the veterans have put out recommendations for people that they say you could vote for. The teachers union here in Las Vegas does that. The culinary union, almost all the unions do that. So if you don't know who to vote for, if you don't want to do the research yourself, go and find a list of recommended candidates that mirror the way that you think. I am a big supporter of unions, and I am a big supporter of the LGBTQ community, and so I did a little bit of downloading of their recommendations, and that's who I voted for. And you know what? The LGBTQ puts little notes next to the ones of why they think they're great, which is awesome, because the more information you have, the better, right? All right, so let's hope that you were able to vote yesterday if you are a registered Democrat or Republican. And I hope we still have mail-in voting, not recommended, but mandatory mail-in voting for November, because there have been spikes in COVID-19 just from Memorial Day. We haven't even seen the spikes yet from the protests that have been going on. So hopefully our November election, the one that everybody will be able to vote in, is going to be mandatory mail-in here in Nevada. It wasn't, however, in Georgia, and they had some issues. If you do not think, if you do not believe that black people are hindered from voting, you are blindly ignorant. You are deliberately ignorant. You are willfully ignorant. And that's the big thing about what I want to talk about today. So if you type in willful ignorance on Google, you get a definition. And the definition is a decision in bad faith to avoid becoming informed about something so as to avoid having to make undesirable decisions, blah, 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 blah. It's crap. Being willfully ignorant. I think those are legal terms because willful ignorance is covered in the courts. If you are willfully or deliberately or crassly ignorant, it's because you don't want to learn, or you've seen the truth and you have decided it doesn't fit your personal opinion, so you ignore it. Willfully ignorant people piss me off. And I hate to say this. Usually I do not, on my social medias, unfriend people that don't have the same political views as I do. But I have found in the last 2 weeks, with everything that's going on, that people that don't have the same political views that I have, And I'm going to tell you something. I'm really tolerant because I am an super uber liberal. Like I'm a goddamn communist. I want everybody to have enough money to be able to live somewhere, to be able to feed themselves, to be able to get to where they need. I am super uber liberal. Everybody should have free education all the way through college. I want people to have free medical care so they never have to work. I want to live in a Star Trek society because I am a huge nerd. And it's one of the reasons why it's my favorite universe, the Star Trek universe. My mask is slipping here. Anyway, I have found that people who do not have the same political views as mine are usually willfully, deliberately, and crassly ignorant. They don't want to learn. You can explain it to them like they're children, and they don't want to change their mind. It doesn't mesh up. I have unfriended so many people on Facebook and stopped following so many people on Instagram and Twitter, and I don't like doing that, but I had to because I tried. I beat my head against, I raged against the machine. That's the reference for today. I raged against the machine, and it falls on completely deaf ears. So instead of subject myself to the rhetoric and bullshit that they put out, I decided to unfriend them for my self-care, for my peace of mind, for my ability to live in my world in a nice manner. So, I know that this show is about teaching. Hopefully you learned something watching this show. And I know that we promised it was supposed to be about sex and things like that. I don't have any sex to give you, but I do have a sexual reference. That's a little bit later. All right, so I talked about that. Let me rant a little bit more. So I have a really good friend. Well, no, not a really good friend. I have somebody that I know that I thought we were really good friends, whom every time she saw the phrase Black Lives Matter, automatically, reactionary, without even thinking, no, all lives matter. I don't want to explain it to you. I shouldn't have to explain it to the people who watch this show. But if you don't understand Black Lives Matter, if you don't understand the hashtag or the phrase or the reason why it's chanted, then you are being willfully, deliberately, or crassly ignorant. You just are. There are so many ways it's being explained, from the firehouse, your house on fire, to the food that you're going to... There are so many ways that it has been explained in media, in social media, by people of the community and outside of the community that you should completely understand. You should completely understand why people say Black Lives Matter. And if you don't understand it, then you're an idiot. I said it. I did. And if it's your gut reaction, if it is your internalized monologue, as soon as you hear someone say Black Lives Matter, to reply, no, all lives matter, then you better check your privilege. And the woman who said that, the woman who posted it, in all caps on her page, by the way, I'm so frustrated with people. She not only said it, she said it willfully, willingly, in all caps. She's not even white. She's like Hispanic or something. And I don't understand that. I don't understand how people of color, people of other color, cannot understand that they're discriminated against all the time. I'm very lucky. I pass as white. I don't have an accent. A lot of people mistake me for Hispanic, but they always ask that with a question mark. But I am Asian. I was driving with my mom in a car one day, and my mom is uber Asian. She's Thai. And I had sunglasses on, so it hid my slanty eyes. I had sunglasses on, and two white women in a car next to me, the epitome of what very white women, not your fancy women either, poor white women, I'm sure. But they yelled at me, what are you doing hanging out with a chink? I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe what I had just heard coming from, we didn't know them. We were at a stoplight. And they said, what are you doing hanging out with a chink? So I took down my glasses and I slanted my eyes as much as possible. And I said, oh, can I take your picture? Oh, they cussed us out. It was horrible. There was one time when my stepdad is Puerto Rican. And he's very dark-skinned Puerto Rican. And we were traveling across the United States. I was in the Air Force. I wasn't in the Air Force. My dad was in the Air Force. We were traveling across the United States to be able to go catch a plane to fly to Aviano Air Force Base, Italy. And we needed to stop for the night because my dad couldn't drive anymore and my mom didn't drive at the time. So we stopped at a Shenandoah hotel, motel, whatever the hell it's called, somewhere in Ohio or one of those places. And my mom and I, not my mom and my sister who is my half-sister because my stepdad or my dad is her real father, so she's got dark skin. My mom and myself had to go in and get a room because they would not give a room to my Puerto Rican dark-skinned dad or my dark-skinned sister. So I have never been directly affected by prejudice that I know of, except for being fat, which I get a lot of prejudice against, or being Wiccan, which I get a lot of negativity against me for. But how can you be a person of color, any color, and not be sympathetic with Black Lives Matter, or Native American Lives Matter, or Hispanic Lives Matter? How can you? I don't understand it. It's like betrayal. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Anyway, other things that are happening in the news. Speaking of, I'm not going to educate you on what Black Lives Matter actually means, even though I spent a good 10-15 minutes on it already. Other things that are going around is people don't like the word Antifa, but people don't seem to understand what it means. I'm Antifa. I have no problem with being Antifa. I don't have a card. If there's a membership card, I'll sign up for it. I have a membership to the Temple of Satan, so I'll totally be an Antifa card-carrying member if need be. The other big thing going on right now are the phrases defund the police, abolish the police. I don't have to educate you on what that actually means. It doesn't mean getting rid of the police department. There still needs to be guys that go out and take down shooters at schools. There still needs to be guys in uniforms going out taking care of serious things that are happening. But I'm not going to explain that to you. Go read about it. There's plenty of things on social media and in the news that you can go read to see what that actually means. It doesn't mean the police are going to go away. I do think, however, that the police need a lot more training than 4 months. From what I've heard, in some places it's 4 months. In other places it's 6 months. I really think there should be a longer training time. I teach classes on witchcraft, and one of the things that we do in our group is we do something called shaking the tree. You cannot be Wiccan. You cannot be a witch and be on the wrong side of the history that's happening right now. You just can't. You can't be intolerant. You can't be not accepting. It's it shouldn't be in your nature if you follow a religion that clearly accepts everybody. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And one of these days, someone's going to try and explain it to me. It'll probably be mansplaining it to me. And I'm just going to roll my eyes and stop listening, because no matter what you say, it's probably going to sound absolutely ridiculous. But I'm tolerant, and I will probably listen for a little while. So just make sure you're very smart when you say the things that you do. When talking to me, anyway. I don't understand how people cannot be behind defunding, or let's pick a gentler word, reforming the police department, with the videos that have come out just from the protests themselves. Just from the protests themselves. You have seen how the police react to people who are peacefully protesting. There's one where a cop gropes a woman, so she tries to get away, and another cop beats her with his baton until they wrestle her to the ground. There's one where you see a cop pull down the face mask of a young kid to be able to spray him in the face with his pepper spray, or whatever the hell it is that he's spraying at them. There's the popular one, because for some reason, not popular in the way that a viral one, where a 75-year-old man is pushed to the concrete, and then you see him bleeding out of his ears. Of course, it's a white man. It's probably why that video went viral more than anything else. But you see the reaction of the police to peaceful protesters, and the force that they use with some of these protesters. And you wonder, why do you wonder that the police departments across this country need to be reformed? How can you not see it? If you don't see it, you're being deliberately, willfully, or crassly ignorant. Seriously. I'm tired. And I haven't even gone out to publicly protest. I protest through my social media. I talk to the people that I know. I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to explain things to people. I don't know. I'm tired. So, let me finish up here. There's been rioting, and there's a lot of people that want you to make the distinction between rioters and peaceful protesters. I don't care, honestly, because you know what? I love history. I know that it was the rioting that happened after the peaceful and loving Martin Luther King Jr. was killed that got the Civil War Act passed. It was the rioting that did that. I know that it was when women finally broke shit, when women started rioting, when we got the right to vote. Rioting works. And there's been a lot of allusions, and I posted it on my own page, but the Boston Tea Party was a goddamn riot. They fucking dumped tea into the fucking harbor because King George wanted to tax them to death. Come on now. So if people want to riot, I'm okay with that. I know it puts people in harm's way, and buildings are burnt down, and businesses have their windows broken out that they've now got to replace. There's this one very, very sad story about a barbershop that got, a black-owned barbershop that got completely burned out. But you know what? Someone set up a GoFundMe for him, and he's got like $50,000 that he can rebuild his business with. Riot. Make it happen. Tear all the statues down. Pull down all the Confederate flags. Let's change the world so we get closer to the Star Trek universe I want to live in. Maybe not Picard, but you know what I mean. Anyway. let's talk about sex a little bit. So I mentioned that COVID-19 spikes were going to be happening here pretty soon. We've already had spikes from the early openings and Memorial Day weekend. There are already spikes. In fact, there are spikes in some places right now that they're running out of personal protective equipment again. They're running out of gowns, and they're running out of gloves, and they're running out of masks. Medical staff are running out of these things. And I say we just take some of the money away from the police right now and give them to the doctor so they can buy all the things that they need to make sure that they take care of those people who have been hospitalized during these spikes of COVID-19. A friend of mine the other day said, the governor has said that up to 10 people can get together now, and there's only like 6 or 7 of us. And and here's where we're going to get into the sex part of SinCityBounty, because I know you guys miss it. But I akin getting together with people who don't live with me as having sex with them without a condom on. Because if we get together for coffee or potluck or whatever, I am literally sharing the space with you and the STDs that you picked up when you went to Smith's yesterday. I am literally sharing the space with you and the people who went to a bar with your roommate the other day. No. I'd rather be home alone, on video, on Zoom calls. Don't get me wrong. It is awesome to see people that I love in person that I haven't seen in forever. And when the threat of COVID-19 is over, if it's ever over, I am going to hug people so long. In fact, it's going to be creepily long. They're going to wonder what the hell is wrong with me. But yeah, hanging out with people that you don't hang out with regularly is hanging out with all the people that they have been in contact with, where they might not have washed their hands, or they might not have washed their mask. So it's like spreading gonorrhea among the people that you love just because you can't see them again. So please, be safe out there. And that's the sex part of SinCityBounty on my end for tonight. Secondary sex part, which isn't really funny, but I just saw, I don't know if it's real, it just flashed across my timeline, and I don't know if you can tell, but I'm smiling right now, but there's been a photo of a naked Trump leaked, and it's hilarious. I don't know if it's him though. But I do have a bone to pick with some of the artists that are out there. I love the big girl artists that are out there. Les Toyle is one of my favorites. He does pinups. He will paint you as a pinup in whatever fanciful, fantastical setting you want to be painted in. He does couples now, which is great as well. But he made his name by doing big girl pinups. And it's $300-400 if you want one. But it's so worth it. And a lot of my friends have one. If you're watching now and you have one, please post in the comments below here, or on the Alexia or SinCityBounty page. I am enamored with Les Toyle. I love what he does. His work is very classy. It's very comic book artist-ish, which I'm a big, huge comic book fan anyway. And there are some other big girl artists out there that I love. I love their work. But there was one today that I saw where the girl was completely naked. Completely naked. And I'm thinking, Jesus. I know you love the female form, but does she always have to be naked? Or in such seductive poses? So the Trump photo today has inspired me. So I think I'm going to start paintings or pictures or drawings of naked men in the seductive poses that these artists put women in. Not Les Toya, the other ones. I'm going to start doing that. I'll post them on the Alexia page, so look out for some naked art. Now, don't get me wrong, I think it's sexy as hell. When Tumblr was the place to go for porn, I had a secret Tumblr that was nothing but, sex gifts and stuff like that. Total masturbation material. But some of my favorite places to follow, oh, thanks, Timothy. Oh, that's going to be fun. But one of my favorite pages to follow were the bears. And I know they're gay. I don't care. Gay porn turns me on too. So, so I'm going to start doing some of these. It's going to be a statement. You guys who are watching this will know. It's a statement about how women are depicted, big women are depicted in the art that men put out. But it should be fun for now. I can't wait. I might start with Trump because that photo was inspiring, so I may have to start it with him. Although, I don't know if I should really because I don't like him. I don't know. Anyway. So that's the Trump photo. All right, I think I'm about done. Sierra's coming up right after me. Hey, we are, we don't post there very often, but we are on Instagram and we are on Twitter. We have a Patreon. You can support us. I bet you if we got more money, we'd probably do the show more often instead of every 2 weeks as we have been with all the stuff that's going on in the world. I'm just kidding. Support if you can. Hey, if you support $5, there is a super secret Facebook group SinCityBounty has that you can join and ask us questions directly if you want. And maybe I'll share those photos, those drawings that I do. No. I told you guys that I would post it, so I will post them publicly. But I won't post them all publicly. I'll save choice ones for Patreon and for that super secret Facebook group. Don't forget, there are still people in cages. Don't forget. There are still detainees in cages, families and children in cages. And I heard a news story today that they are deliberately being put in dangerous situations where they could easily contract COVID-19. To remain in the detention center, a bunch of Hispanic workers were told, you need to work here in this space. We don't have PPE for you. You need to go clean over that nurse's medical station over there. No, I'm sorry, there's no PPE. Just go clean it. And if they don't, they get kicked out of the space. So, yeah. So much going on in the world. You see the sign behind me right here? I put that there deliberately, motherfuckers. That's right. Black Lives Matter. We love our brothers and sisters, don't we? All of you watching this show should. And, you know what? If you watch this segment and you're no longer watching this show, fine. Fuck off. We don't need you. We have plenty of people that love us. What link are you asking for, CJ? The link? Alright. Last thing. Very last thing. I have mentioned it 3 or 4 times already. I am a huge Star Trek fan. In fact, I'm rewatching Discovery right now because I'm expecting Discovery Season 3, I think it is, coming out anytime soon. And because of it, I have learned to appreciate other things. So I just finished rewatching Deep Space Nine with Captain Sisko. Some of the most powerful acting in a Star Trek series that I know of. Patreon. Yes, my lady. I'll make sure we post it. Sierra, if you're in the chat, maybe you can post it for us. So, Sisko, one of my favorite captains of the Star Trek universe that we know of, he used the analogy of baseball to explain linear time to the wormhole aliens or Bajoran gods, as they were. If you're not a fan of Star Trek, you can just totally turn this off right now. But those of you who are fans of Star Trek know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So he used the analogy of playing a game of baseball and not knowing what's going to happen during the game as a metaphor, simile, analogy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, to how humans understand time and live in time. And because of that, I, who doesn't like sports, said, okay, baseball must not be that bad. So I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and I would watch it every now and then. It's still the most boring sport on the planet. Right underneath it is soccer, because a 3-hour game and there's only one goal. What the hell? Anyway. So, but I gave baseball the benefit of the doubt because of Cisco. Because of Deep Space Nine and Cisco, I could totally understand how philosophically you could use sports as an analogy. I've seen football used to explain war, which, is fine. But then I heard today that we still don't have baseball. I know that there are people out there who love sports. Love sports. They love sports so much that they riot when their team wins. Love sports so much that they riot when their team loses. There are people out there who love sports. But for those of you who love baseball, you should know, if you don't already, that the reason there is no baseball happening right now, even though it's happening in other places in the world, with safety, COVID-19 safety, it's not because of COVID. It's not happening now because of COVID. It's happening because they know that the money they're going to get from the games are not going to be as much as they used to be because of COVID. So they're negotiating for who gets more of the money. Rich, usually white, baseball team owners are discussing when to bring baseball back, only when they have determined how much money they're each going to make off of us, or you rather, because I'm not part of the sports lovers. But that's what they're negotiating. They're not negotiating for the safety of players or for the safety of fans. They're negotiating for the money. And that's what I want to leave you with. Just remember that when you're about to go buy yourself a Dodgers cap or a jersey or whatever the hell. Just remember that. Anyway, I'm Alexia. Part 1 of SinCityBounty today. Sierra is coming up after me. Check your privilege. I have it, even though I'm a POC. Check your privilege. And educate yourself. Seriously. Come on now. Alright. Love you guys. Bye.
We're just going to wait a few more minutes before I get started. I want as many people in here as possible. I'll apologize a little early for those of you who are showing up. I am not going to be my normal self. It's not possible for me to be my normal self right now. Actually, what you're going to see is the real me, not the persona that I put on for the show, not the over-exuberant person that I put forth to the rest of the world. This is not going to be fun, and probably not funny, and certainly not sexy. I have a lot of things I want to talk about. Alexia talked about not wanting to explain some things, and I am going to explain some things. I'm going to give you my point of view on everything that's going on right now. And I'm probably going to cry, just as an out there. 8, I think that's a good place to start. Our country is on the brink of a civil war. And I think that a lot of people think that this is an extreme thing to say. I think that a lot of people think that's preposterous. This is America. This is the modern age. But civil uprisings, civil wars, and the overthrowing of intolerant and fascist regimes are still happening all over the world. And they're going to happen here. And you need to choose a side. You don't have the luxury of sitting on the sidelines anymore. I am proudly anti-fascist. I stand on the side of my grandfathers who fought against fascism in Nazi Germany. I stand on the side of my grandmothers who stayed home to support a democratic country fighting against a fascist regime. What you are watching is the rise of fascism in America as our government. Black lives matter. And I'm going to give you a reason why they matter. I'm going to tell you why they matter more than my life right now. I've been pulled over more times than I am willing to admit. Actually, I'm willing to admit how many times I've been pulled over. And I'm arrested every time I'm pulled over. And I'm a fat white chick. I'm very non-threatening in my real life. But I'm arrested every time. And so now I have police panic every time a cop passes by me. Every time they start flashing their lights or I hear a siren, I start having an anxiety attack because I'm going to get pulled over and I'm going to get arrested. But I have never, ever once had to worry about if they're going to kill me. But my black friends do. When you say Black Lives Matter, you're not diminishing the worthiness of any other life. What you are saying is that right now we have a problem with people of color being discriminated against in a fascist, systemic, racist society that we continue to perpetuate by saying stupid shit like, all lives matter. Yes, you dumb fuck. All lives do matter. But right now, the problem isn't that white people are being suppressed. The problem isn't that I have to worry about getting pulled over by a cop and am I going to be shot today? Am I going to be knelt on until I die today? That's not the problem. The problem is that a group of people that we are consistently calling a minority who are no longer a minority in this country. They are equal to, and in some places, the majority of American citizens in a location. They're not a minority. They are equal to you and I in every way, shape, fashion, and form. There is no reason for them, there should be no reason for them to worry about, is the color of my skin going to get me killed today? My favorite analogy for Black Lives Matter is you go to the doctor. You have a broken arm and it hurts. It's causing you a lot of pain and you can't function with that broken arm. And you go into the doctor and you say, "Doctor, my arm is broken and I need you to help me fix it." And the doctor looks at you and says, "I'm sorry, I can't help you because all the rest of your bones matter." That's what you sound like. You are refusing help to people. Black Lives Matter. Right now, the problem is systemic racism in our white supremacist fascist culture that we have in America right now. Defunding the police is not about removing the police force. As a matter of fact, I don't think it should be called defunding the police. I think the hashtag should be demilitarize the police. We already have a military. We already have a National Guard who should be deployed in times of need. We don't need a second-level National Guard. There is no reason for your average beat cop to have anything more than maybe a handgun. And not an automatic. They don't need a rifle. They don't need a shotgun. They don't need tear gas. They don't need pepper spray. As a matter of fact, I'm far more inclined to believe that police only need a taser. Because most police can't hit the broadside of a fucking barn anyway. And I know, they go through a shit ton of rigorous training. But they're still really bad at it. When you consider how many innocent bystanders are shot by police during a shootout, they're still really bad at it. When you consider that they walk in and shoot an unarmed person asleep in their own bed, I would have to say their aim is a little fucking off. I would have to say that when a man is clearly in the midst of an emotional mental breakdown and he's shot and killed by the police, that their aim is a little fucking off. I would have to say that when even without a gun, they can kill a human being, while paramedics and off-duty EMS officers plead with those cops to get off this person, let me check their vitals, that their aim is a little fucking off. Police are necessary for society. It's just the way it is. But a second National Guard in the form of our police is entirely unnecessary. I'm a veteran. I'm a gun owner, and I'm still a registered libertarian. But there is no need for what is happening in our country right now. I'm watching all the same videos you are. I'm watching innocent people already bleeding, crying in the street, being kicked in the face by police officers. I'm watching people stand with their hands up, being entirely unthreatening, being beaten with billy clubs by the police. And as much as that hurts me, here is where you know we have failed as Americans. Here's where I don't understand why we are not rioting harder. Why have we not stormed the White House yet? Because there's a montage video out there of all the reporters who are being attacked. Your members of media, the people trying to give you the information you need to create your own opinion, are being attacked. People who are here from other countries to share this information worldwide are being attacked. They're not undercover. They're holding up their press badges. They are standing in their logoed shirts next to their logoed van with the logoed camera and logoed microphone, and they are being punched in the face. They're being shot at with pepper bullets. They're laying face down in a well-lit gas station, holding their press credentials up, while their cameramen cower behind a car across the parking lot, and they are yelling, "I'm press, I'm press, I'm press." And the police officers are leaning down and spraying crowd control pepper spray directly into their face. That's fascism. Right now, your First Amendment right is on trial in the streets. The judge, the jury, and the executioner is your police force and your current government leaders. They are denying you your First Amendment right to free speech. You have the right to stand on a street corner, a public street corner that you have paid for through your tax dollars, and scream about whatever you want. You have the right to march down a public street that you paid for with your tax dollars and hold a sign that says whatever the fuck you want it to say. None of these protesters are showing up with AR-15s. 2 weeks ago, when there were truckloads of white redneck cocksuckers with AR-15s and fully automatic, fully illegal weapons walking around, and the police aren't shooting them. They're not throwing pepper spray at them. They're not using flashbangs or rubber bullets. The police are barely even there. A white man with an AR-15 showed up in full tactical gear to a riot with the intent of causing harm to the rioters, And the police officer patted him on the back and made him walk away. And probably went on to beat someone who was unarmed, who had no intention of causing harm to anyone. If you are not angry, you do not belong on this channel. If you are not incensed and violently enraged, you do not belong on this channel. We have, for the entirety of our 10 years, talked about nothing but tolerance and acceptance and equality. And if you have a fucking problem with that, I don't need your money. I don't want your view. I don't want your like. You can unfriend me, you can unlike me, and you can walk the fuck away. You know what? We've been doing this for 10 years now without it. We'll do it for 10 more years without it. We'll continue. We'll keep going. And your racist ass can fuck off. I want you to think about, really look at it, internalize it. Because the first thing Nazi Germany did before they started systematically killing entire groups of people in a little thing we like to call the Holocaust is they destroyed the media. They destroyed a way for information to get out. Did you know that the reason the Allied forces didn't move against Nazi Germany and their concentration camps as quickly as they did, or as quickly as they could, is because they couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe that concentration camps existed. That level of inhumanity was possible. And there are still people who think that. If you drive down to Mexico and New Mexico and Arizona and the Texas border, we have concentration camps in America. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of American men and women died to oppose concentration camps. And if you think they're still okay because they're just brown people, they're illegals, fuck off. Concentration camps should not exist anywhere. You can call them whatever you want, but they are a concentration camp. And it is shameful. Shameful and anti-American that they exist. This government is stupid. This government is ridiculous. This government is fascist. And if you don't vote to remove these fascist assholes, all of them, all the way, from the bottom to the top. Don't just worry about the fucking president, because you know who got him there? The rest of your representatives in Congress and the Senate. You know who got them there? The leaders of your parties. Oh yeah, you Democrats too. You fucking Democrats out there running around going, oh, we need the most electable president. No, fuck you. Do you know what Biden said? Oh, I know he's the Democratic president, and quite unfortunately, he's the one I'm going to have to vote for. But he said, why don't we just shoot them in the leg instead? Why don't we not shoot them at all? How about that? How about we set down the fucking weapons we have turned against our own American people and stop shooting them? Just fucking stop it. Take 1 minute to listen to what they are saying. Take 1 minute to recognize why they are enraged. And fucking talk to them. Because if you don't, I want you to go back and look at Egypt. It was about 10 years ago, I think. The streets were clogged with rioters and protesters. And yeah, probably looters. And they changed their regime. Still a little not good, but that's what's going to happen here. That's what needs to happen. We are on a boiling point of civil war. I don't want it to happen. I know we joke about me being a prepper, an apocalypse preparer, whatever you want to call me, but I don't want it to actually happen. to. Because America is run by fascist, Nazi, white supremacist dictators on every level, from your judges to the president. I want to talk about it's just a few bad apples. It's not. So I want to tell you why it's not. Let's go back to that 75-year-old dude who got pushed over and started bleeding and is in stable but critical condition still in the hospital. Watch that video. Watch it again and again and again, and not just the part where he gets pushed over, but watch the whole thing after when he gets pushed over. Because one of the cops reaches down to help him, and the other cop pulls him away. It's not just a few bad apples. Yeah, there are cops who are good people, but they're not laying down their badges. They're not laying down their guns. They're not standing in opposition of the assaulters that are in the street. They're not arresting the people who are assaulting other people in the street. They're not standing up for the people they are supposed to be protecting. So it's not just a few bad apples. And I'm sorry to my friends who are in law enforcement. I know that you feel like you have to play the game. But if you have to be a violent racist to keep your job, why are you still in that job? There are so many other things you could be doing. If you joined to serve and protect, please begin serving and protecting. Please start arresting the people who are injuring the people you are supposed to be serving and protecting. Please refuse orders that tell you to shoot to kill. Please refuse orders that tell you to misuse the tools you have been given to quell riots. Please speak up, because it will not change if you stay silent. We don't need a second military. We already have them. We need a police force to protect us from violent criminals. We need a police force to investigate crime. Although, maybe not. We could have an independent investigation team that's not police at all. We don't need police to show up to the call of some poor, mentally deranged dude standing in the middle of a parking lot. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a friend who came to my house to spend the night. This friend felt unsafe where they were. And in the morning, they were so overwhelmed they began having a massive panic attack and called 911. The police showed up before the paramedics did. It's not necessary. The police were not needed. There was nothing the police could have done. I don't know why they showed up. A few years ago, a young woman who was clearly strung out on something ended up on my doorstep, talking to my garage. And I called 911 because she needed help. And the police showed up. Not the paramedics. The police showed up. They arrested her. She probably didn't get to see a doctor, which is what she needed. I don't see a solution in our future that doesn't involve a civil upheaval that is massive and dramatic. I am an American, and my American people are being assaulted, and they are being killed. My civil rights as an American are important. Your civil rights as an American are important, and Black Lives Matter. And the First Amendment is the first because it's important. It was the first thing they thought of when they were making America is we can't remove our right to free speech. And every time a member of media is assaulted by a police officer, they're shitting on the American Constitution and the amendments and everything that makes us great. You want to make America great again? Demilitarize the police. Remove the fascist regime that is in office and vote. I can't stress that enough. Vote. Remove these people from office. Because at some point in our future, voting won't work anymore. So next to voting, you need to start learning how to fight. With your words, with your money, with your actions. You need to fight for America. And if you want to throw your hands up and say, it's not my problem, I'm not a part of it, I'm not in the middle, everyone's a little wrong, you've picked your side. You're a fascist. Fuck you.